Hello, and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting being held on May 8th, 2024. We're calling the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. If we can please call the roll.
Mrs. Arvanites?
Here.
Mrs. Assef? Here. Mrs. Caforio? Here. Mr. Collins? Dr. Henry? Here. Mrs. Hostler? Here. Mrs. Troutman? Here.
We have 6 board members present and 1 absent. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comments. I believe there are no public comments. Right. So we'll skip public comment section since there aren't any and go straight into item 3, which is reports and presentations, our strategic plan monitoring and strategic plan indicators. Dr. Campbell.
Thank you so much, President Arvanites. Good evening, everyone. This is our third and final Committee of the Whole meeting on this evening. And I want to thank everyone for being here on tonight. Over the course of this school year, there have been several opportunities for the administration to share with the Board of Education and our community at large our progress that's being made as we invoked and began our strategic plan and initiatives, and specifically looking at how the work is having a direct impact on student outcomes, both in growth as well as achievement. And so tonight, in particular, we're going to spend some time looking at some indicators that have not previously been shared and discussed and talked about this year, as we can look back and see many of our conversations around the data directly included some of the indicators that were associated with our state assessments and our summative assessments. But as we know, within a unit district and serving EC through 12 and beyond, there are so many more indicators and there's so much more data that we look at internally to continue to monitor progress and make the necessary adjustments. And so tonight, we're going to have the opportunity to look at a few of those additional indicators. So as stated, we continue to review and update available data on our state and D205 strategic plans, and we are really excited for the Board of Education tonight to share feedback to the administration on particular indicators for the upcoming 2 years, school year 24-25 as well as 25 and 26. So our time is going to be reviewing some of those indicators. Again, I am so appreciative to the administrators that are here in the room that's going to share and give insight and continue to explore some of those opportunities of available data, and then also tell the story behind some of those data sources that you're going to see and how that's impacting some of the work that we're doing. And then at the end, we're going to have a collaborative debrief of the learning and discuss any future considerations that's going to be facilitated by our board president. So with that being said, we constantly kind of come back to this idea that the whole purpose of having a strategic plan within our district is for system alignment, and system alignment is critical to student success. Within that, we know that our student journey of excellence framework really continues to guide that work, but specifically each school year, we identify district-wide areas of priority. So throughout those various presentations that we've had earlier throughout the year, we come back and ground our work to show the direct correlation and alignment to our district-wide areas of priority. So on tonight, Board of Education, we have our 4 broad priority areas, being student success, learning environment, financial and operational effectiveness, and community outreach and engagement. And so board members, on tonight, you all are going to stay put within your tables, and the administrators are going to rotate around to you. And at each particular time of rotation, administrators will have additional handouts for you to refer to as they're sharing on that particular indicator, as well as there are folders right there on your table. So if each board member will just grab a folder, if you would. And in that folder, you will have a note catcher. Obviously, you have a copy of the memo that's also made public for those that might be of interest for that. And then you have a note catcher that will allow you to kind of capture some of your thoughts as you rotate through each priority area. And so there are 3 guiding questions that we are probing and proposing for you to be reflective on this evening, and that our administrators are going to kind of walk through, is what are some of the current D205 strategic plan indicators? Specifically, how has D205 made progress towards achieving the indicators that were based on our 23-24 areas of priority based on what data we have available. And then we're really, really excited for input and thought from our board in terms of what are future plans that you might see available. I'm sorry, that not quite there yet. So first, after we talk about what progress is being made, administrators will share what future plans are preliminary plans in place for us to continue to make continued improvement and progress around those areas. I'm jumping a little bit, but there will also be a time where we would like to collect feedback and thought and insight from our Board of Education, just in terms of, are we really capturing the right indicators to share broadly and to continue to tell our story publicly within our community. So obviously within that, as you go through each of the sections, there might be an opportunity for you to provide us some direct feedback on that, for us to continue to take that into account and make the necessary adjustments as we are in the throes of planning for the next couple of years out. Those rotations are going to be a total of 15 minutes. 10 minutes is going to include some direct kind of presentation and information that's going to be shared from each of the various administrators on that priority. And then we will allow a 5-minute reflection for if board members have any direct questions or if there's some items that you want to hear and learn a little bit more about. Okay. Are there any questions in terms of tonight's format and purpose and objective? Okay, without further ado, we're going to start off with our first rotation. Just also for the public awareness that we have also included at the end a time for us to synthesize and to wrap up and to share out what some of those key points were that were made at each of the various groups. And so again, in the spirit of transparency, we will make sure that we kind of elevate and highlight some of those key discussion points at each of the group for those that are interested in hearing a little bit more about that. Okay? All right. You all may begin.
modern facilities. You definitely see it by the end of the summer, we'll have modern furniture in all 8 elementary schools. Kindergarten through 5th grade, all of the elementary schools have modern furniture. With that, I'm gonna turn it over to, yeah, go ahead. That one is from, yeah. This is through 23, the dashboard is not up to date, it was what we had, as, last year, but, we will get it up to date. Well, the financial one is out of the annual financial report, the audited financial report. So we would have gotten 23 data in December, January.
Team, this is a 5-minute time check to let you know that we should now be transitioning to questions.
Moving forward, we're definitely going to be looking at safety, modernizing, maintaining quality facilities, projecting the staffing needs, resources, establishing excellence, and then also, Todd Amory's local long-term plans related to the restrictions that Todd's seniors management are employing. As far as the safety, we're definitely looking at the actions that are going with our meetings go, trying to be more of a communication safety standards. So, we're looking at the landlords, the entrance as well, cover glass, film. Definitely gonna get that I think will be the highest priority. Second is the one down by the academic wing, and then third, we'll see. I mean, we're gonna see what the proposals look like. We're looking at all three, but, we'll see what they look like. The athletic one being the third priority.
Okay, that concludes our first round. So now our administrators are actually going to move. And so round two. Arvanites and Asif, student success will be going that way. And then with Cafario and Henry, learning environment will come there. And then Miss Tanya Daniels will then make her way over here to meet with Miss Troutman and Miss Hostler. Okay. All right, team, and our 15 minutes begins now. We are now in our 5-minute mark where board members should be asking any follow-up questions at this time. Okay, that concludes our second round. We're moving into our third. So, student success. Ms. Leischel and Ms. Lyons is going to make their way over to Ms. Hostler and Ms. Troutman. And then financial and operational effectiveness. It seems like you found your group. Excellent job. And then learning environment is making their way over to Mrs. Arvanites and Ms. Sassif. I'm going to let you all get seated. Hold on one second. Because student success needs all 10 minutes of this time. Hold on. Just give them a minute. Get settled. I'm going to let them get their packets out, and then we're going to. Okay, and our time begins now. Joe, I'm trying. Team, I have to call our attention to 5 minutes to allow for board members to ask questions and process information. Okay, we are getting ready for our fourth and final rotation. We are almost there at the finish line. And so this is our fourth and our final rotation, our 15 minutes. Everyone is settled. We may begin. Team, we are well into our 5-minute mark, so hopefully board members are having the opportunities to ask some questions and provide any clarifying information. Rudy, can you refresh? Because I just refreshed the, yeah. We could go to the next slide and then just do a refresh. Sure, we're going to take a quick 5-minute restroom or stretch break, and then you can finish up conversations, and we'll get started right promptly at 6:55. Where the Board of Education will have the opportunity to engage in a board debrief as well as a share out. And for our constituents that might be joining us virtually, we are going to ensure and ask for board members to make sure you speak into the mic so that you can be easily heard. I'll turn it over now to our board president, Athena Arvanites.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. You know, this was another wonderful committee of the whole where I think we get to take a peek into the work that's being done in different areas around the school. And thank you to the team for putting this all together, but more importantly, for doing this level of work, really. It's quite profound and impressive. For our board, if we can take a little thought, you know, we've come a long way. We have a strategic plan, and it's really meant to guide the work of the board and the district. And so if we can share some reflections about, what have we learned about our strategic plan, but more importantly, the progress that we're making, that's being made within our district. Anyone have any reflections? And we can kind of break this up in the different areas. So we could talk about in student success, for example. Was there any reflections or thoughts that people wanted to share that maybe came up in your small group tables as a summary? Beth?
So we've talked about a lot of tools along the way in relation to our strategic plan and how we're going to try as a district to achieve certain goals. And then at the board table, we vote on certain things and we agree to spend our funds on different tools and initiatives across the district. And it's just so nice to hear exactly how they're being used. And then after they've been used for a while, what more can we get out of them? Are they, working in the way that we want them to? Are we using every aspect of those tools? And are we really making sure that we are using our funds wisely and that this is a tool for us? So that's just something that really came out to me, how we can use these tools to look, for instance, at every single student, find out exactly what they need, really hone in on specific areas and get interventions in place quickly so that we can keep kids on track and make sure that they're not falling through the cracks. And that work is so incredibly important for the success of our students and to make sure that they're, ready for the next grade level. And then there was other areas where I heard the similar stories about how the tools are being used and then tweaked and really digging in specifically on how we can get more out of those initiatives. So I just really appreciated that.
Courtney?
So mine's not specifically about student success. I just wanted to, I think sitting back and reflecting on the fact that we have a strategic plan that was approved. We had given you marching orders about how to implement that, how to get the indicators to see if you were meeting those marks along the way, to actually see it implemented. Because this isn't, Mr. Collins and Mrs. Caforio longer than Beth and I, but this isn't our first strategic plan. And I'll never got to the point to have these kind of meaningful discussions about, here's the plan, here's the steps we're taking, here's how it's working, here's how we're shifting, here's how we're moving. Like, it's just very intentional, and it is, I'm proud of it, and you guys should be proud of it, is really, so I just want to throw that out there because I've never seen it. And I'm 5 years in, we're 5 years in. Like I said, Mr. Collins and Mrs. Caforio have many a strategic plan under their belts, and I don't think they've seen this. So the community should be very proud of the work that's being done across the board.
That's great, thanks. We can move on if we'd like to think about what we learned tonight about the learning environment. And again, just any reflections or thoughts from the side tables that came out of that one. I have to find mine really quick. This one was more of the focus on school culture, right? And classroom culture and environment. And what was shared with us was, did somebody else want to take it? Sorry, I'm sifting through my notes still. I'm multitasking here really quick. Here it is. Nope, that's not the right one. This is it. So this is positive culture and relationships. The thing that really stood out to me was some of the, just thinking about student engagement in our schools, of course within their academic life, but also in student life, in the co-curricular and extracurricular opportunities. We know that student engagement in school, co-curricular and extracurricular activities is an indicator of kids' creating that sense of belonging and really enjoying being in a warm and welcoming environment. And that's what makes them come back and stay in those opportunities, but also thrive and learn something new and engage with their peers in a different way than in the academic setting. So to see some of the initiatives being taken, one, for example, is the student choice in the middle schools for clubs. And that students get to talk with their principal about an area of interest and throw that idea out to the whole school to see if there's other students that might want to join them. And it was really nice to see that the district's supporting those opportunities and how it's student-centered and then, more importantly, student-initiated. So that was one highlight from our table. Anything else? Kara?
I was just going to say, I think something in both the learning environment and the student success conversation was just how seeing that, it's like work on one goal and then it's been work on the next goal, still working on that goal, but building, and then building, preparing for work on the next goal. So, layering, scaffolding, whatever you want to call it, but so that, I guess what I see is I think that's more lasting. It has a more lasting effect because there's a strong foundation. You kind of went for the most important thing first. I think in the student success, it was, the second one was alignment. I can't remember what the first one was, but, and so I just think that makes it where we're building something that's lasting. And we're constantly building on top of this strong foundation that you've created. And so it isn't that, if a curriculum changes or if something else changes, we're still building on this foundation that's been created and set, and everything just, builds the achievement and the excellence on top of that. So, and the same with the student or the positive culture and relationships. We've talked a lot at the board table about attendance because and just kind of, that's a complex issue. And so, continuing to build on all the pieces that impact attendance. But, the first thing was to really just report and really dig into why kids weren't coming to school, and then work on, okay, what's the first thing we can do, and then the second. And I think I just appreciate the real intentionality of, creating a system that you're building on each year and getting better and better results each year in both learning and this, the learning environment and just all the different pieces. So that kind of speaks to the whole actual strategic plan, but especially in these two categories.
Well said. Beth?
And just one thing to add to that also is the consistency. I think a consistency like across our schools and across the district, also in the tools that you're using and the indicators, so that you can compare, 1 year to the next or one student to the next, and it's apples to apples, and it's easy to see and pinpoint those areas, rather than just throwing more things in there or more things at a challenge. You're really using those consistent methods. It helps staff to learn and, be able to dig deeper and learn more about those methods. It helps you to be able to use the data and really hone in on areas that you can work on more with students. And so that consistency, I think, is really important too, and it speaks in all these areas.
Great. Anything else on this one? Awesome. Financial and operational effectiveness. One of the key functions of the board is overseeing our financial health. And so always appreciate the transparency provided by the district around all the facets of in-school finance, which is very complicated, but also our operational effectiveness. So any thoughts or a summary from anyone around this dialogue at your table? I can take it if nobody wants it. Nobody wants it? Nobody wants it, okay. You know, this was a high-level overview, Mr. Welton, right, about where we are as a district. And I think as a board, we're consistently monitoring this, and we've made that a priority for, since I've been on the board. Not because of me, but in the recent years, right, that we've been looking at this because of our referendum, our expansion of facilities and the buildings that we've built. And so this is another moment where we get to take a look at different aspects of our effectiveness, both in our finances and operational. So, you know, it's nice to have this review of where we are with days cash on hand and hearing from you all the improvements that we've made in technology, whether it's about building security or students' devices and their use in security. There's quite a bit going on in this realm, and within the strategic plan, it being a priority, there's definitely intentional movement to ensure we have what we need to make sure that our students' devices, but also our facilities and our staff are safe while they're here. I'll leave it at that. Anything else, anybody? Beth?
I just had one other thing. I really appreciated the thoughts about supporting our staff to help them grow in their careers, if that's something that they are interested in doing. And we're always talking about helping our students grow, but I also appreciate the work to help our staff grow in their, you know, educational opportunities as well.
Thanks. And the last one is community outreach and engagement. Any feedback or summary from board? Oh, you don't have to. I'm just looking around. Sure, go ahead. Kelly.
Sorry, she's like staring at me. I'm like, I guess I should say
Wasn't
something.
trying to.
You know, we're doing what? We're doing community outreach and engagement. Sorry. Obviously, we've had a huge increase from last year to this year in, you know, our district engagement rate, our total parents with the app, all students with the app, Student Square and Parent Square. It seems like it's been a great tool for, you know, to streamline and have information and communication be consistent and streamlined to get to parents and to students. I liked that, you know, all the teachers, administrators, coaches were trained in how to use it, obviously, but and custom groups can be built, Tanya said, which I think is helpful for helping different, you know, like a coach, for example, to have their students and who they need to get the information to. I also, Tanya pointed out that there is communication and social media guidelines for staff, which, again, I think just having that helps to streamline the whole process and making sure that students and parents are getting information from the right place and one place instead of like different apps and different emails and things. So it seems like it's working, and I think we talked a little bit about maybe sometimes it could feel like there's too much information. So we're talking, you know, we know that might be something that's going to be looked at and seeing what the sweet spot is for how much information and communication needs to go out to the students and parents.
Great, you just led us into our last question of the night. So that was a consideration, right, that may be developed, and it's only a consideration and for food for thought, not necessarily any sort of action plan, but one that might have came out of our table over here, opening it up to the board for any other considerations to be made in planning for school year 24 and 25. and I will say this, I don't know if I used enough wait time there, but I will say this, that in the presentation materials, it's, you all have your own set of considerations for the school year 24, 25, 25, 26. So, and those, in every facet that we went through tonight, in every group, had not just what the goals are going to be for next year, but also a future goal for the year after that. And it goes back to what Kara's talking about, is that building block of layers where your foundation, it feels like, is solidifying, and then now you can kind of build the buildings up from that foundation. And so I encourage anyone who's interested to take a look at some of those goals and considerations that are in the documents provided on board docs. But that, because some of it is very detailed and specific in these areas, so we probably won't go over them here. Anything else? Any other comments any board member would like to make? Any reflections or thoughts to share? Did Kara have one? Beth is prompting me. Sorry, Kara. Okay. Sorry. Woo! I was like, Kara's usually good about making eye contact. No. Well, I do want to thank you all again. It is quite, these meetings are, a couple hours long, and we get to see this really short window into your work. And it is impressive, the amount of detail that goes behind every step you take, and the intentionality and the thoughtfulness, and really truly the focus on what's best for students. You see it come through, and I just want to thank you all on behalf of the board for doing this work and making Elmhurst this great place to have children and be educated and even to work. So thank you for all your efforts. And with that, are we closing? Okay, so we are at 7:11. We have a couple other meetings. Well, I suppose. Yes, number 5. So we have May 14th, 2024, regular Board of Education meeting at 7 p.m. June 5th, 2024 is a policy committee meeting at 5:30 p.m. And June 18th, 2024 is a Board of Education meeting at 7 p.m. All 3 meetings will be taking place at District 205 Center here in room 215, 16, and 17. So with that, it is 7:12, and we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.